Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about things that are not rude in a tattoo shop. So if that's something that interests you, then keep watching. I am wearing my winter coat because it's 40 degrees. My apartment doesn't have heat and I'm a little sniffly. When I first started going to tattoo shops, I always kind of thought that there were some things that happened that were kind of rude or a little weird, and after my time spent around many tattoo artists and different tattoo shops, I realized that's not the case. And after seeing a lot of videos that are saying what not to do in a tattoo shop, what not to say in a tattoo shop, here are things that you can say and you can do, and they're totally acceptable. Number 1 on this list, it is not rude for the tattoo artist to ask you where you got your other tattoos from. I used to think that this was sort of like a jealousy or an ego thing. They'd be like, where'd you get your other work from? You didn't get it from me. But that's not the case at all. This is just the tattoo artist's way of trying to relate to you and start a conversation maybe about your background or whether or not you know other artists in the area. The tattoo community is usually pretty small, so if you mention an artist that's in their area, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know that dude, or something like that. It's also not rude at all if you let the tattoo artist know that you kind of just want to listen to music or your podcast or your book. If you brought headphones, it's totally normal for them to just want to focus on the tattoo and not make small talk. It doesn't mean that you're making them uncomfortable or that you're doing anything wrong. It just means that they are able to put their whole concentration into the tattoo. So I personally do not like talking while I'm getting tattooed. I either like just focusing on what my body is doing to make sure that I am not gonna pass out or anything like that. I kind of like focusing on music or an audiobook that I'm listening to, things like that. If you do want to listen to music or a podcast or whatever, bring headphones, because even if it's not rude to just listen to your own music, it is rude to play music from your phone. Third on this list is it is not rude to ask the tattoo artist to change things about the design. It's not rude to ask about changing size or placement or even colors or design elements. It is rude to change the whole design the day of. You want to give your artist at least a few days heads up if you're thinking about changing the design. But when it comes to, I think I would like it better up here on my arm, or I think I would like it a little bit smaller, I was thinking about doing it in pink, things like that, totally normal. The tattoo artist wants your input. They want you to be a part of the tattoo because it is on your body. That being said, you should also listen to their advice. They are the professional, and sometimes after all of the tattoos they've seen, they're trying to give you the best tattoo that you can get. One thing that I didn't realize until I started working at a tattoo shop was that this is probably the only place in the world where it's preferable that you're late. Tattoo artists are notoriously late. So the way tattoo artists schedule themselves is that they usually only have a little bit of time in between clients, and more often than not, a previous tattoo will be running a little bit late. So if tattoo artists book themselves up and they're already running late, then it is fine if you are 5 or 10 minutes late. It's not very good to show up to your appointment an hour early. It's not like a doctor's office, It's not like you get in faster, you get in faster. It's not like that at all. Unless you've worked with this tattoo artist for a while and you know how they work, and you know that it's totally okay for you to show up an hour early and get started an hour early, I wouldn't do that. unless it's okay with the artist beforehand. Um, it's pretty common that you could show up either like at your exact appointment time or a little bit later, 5 to 10 minutes later, and they still won't be ready for you. But that's okay. As long as you show up, I would say don't be later than like half an hour to your appointment, because that's going to make them think that you are like a no call, no show. So I would say be exactly on time to your appointment, but don't be later than half an hour. Another thing that is different in tattoo shops that are different than anywhere else is talking about money. When I first started working at the tattoo shop, it's very American culture to not want to talk about money. You don't want to talk about how much you make or how much you spend on things or anything like that unless you're bragging. And even if you're bragging, it feels kind of rude, you know? So when I first started working at the tattoo shop, I didn't want to talk about money. I didn't want to ask people for money. I still don't at the end of the day, but it's totally normal for you to ask, what is the price going to be? What is the total price going to be? It's totally normal for them to ask you for the money as soon as they're done with the tattoo. I've had people that have walked out without paying me before. So in order to prevent that from happening, it's not uncommon for them to ask for the money right away, for you to pay them at their station as soon as they're done with the tattoo. As soon as you're wrapped up, just give them the money that you agreed upon beforehand. It's not rude to talk about money, especially if you're working within a budget. Let your artist know if you are working within a budget, but it is rude to try to haggle. This is not a service that you can negotiate the price down and get a better deal or anything like that. This is a service that they give you the price. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. And if they give you a price and it's more than you were expecting, let them know that you have a budget that you're trying to stick to, and usually they can work within that budget. They can like start on the design at the bottom or like do a piece of it, do it in sessions to like fit around your financial needs. Okay, so another thing that I thought of that is not rude from a tattoo artist is to not respond to your messages. It's very common that tattoo artists have hundreds, if not thousands of people messaging them, asking for quotes, design ideas, availability, things like that. So it's not uncommon for them not to reply to you for days or even weeks, especially if they are an artist that is really busy and so they're spending a majority of their daytime tattooing, a majority of their nighttime drawing, and then, maybe on their days off they get back to messages. So if they don't respond to you right away, don't freak out. Don't come into the tattoo shop being like, why didn't he message me back? Stuff like that, because we've had people like that at the shop, and the reality of it was they were busy tattooing. Tattoo artists are known for being very blunt and very to the point, and that is because they are trying to be as straightforward with their clientele to figure out exactly what they want. Unless they know you really well, unless you're like a friend of theirs, they don't know what style of tattoo you prefer or what sort of like aesthetic you're going for. Tattoo artists can be very straightforward with their clients because they're trying to figure out how to give them the result that they have in their mind. And a lot of times it can be seen as like, why are you being so mean to me? But in reality, they're not being mean. They're just being honest. At the end of the day, it's your tattoo. Tattoo artists are providing a luxury service. So, you want to have it be something that you're happy with. Last thing that is not rude in a tattoo shop is that it's not rude for the tattoo artist to make you wait. It took me a while to kind of get used to this in other shops or other services, like let's say you have like, I don't know, an eyelash appointment or something at 2:30. You get there at 2:15, you wait, you do some paperwork, you sit around. 2:25, they call you back and get started at 2:30. You know? Tattooing is not like that. Let's say you have an appointment at 2:30, you show up at 2, you're still waiting for them to finish up the previous tattoo. They take a little break because they haven't eaten all day. They call you back around like 2:45. You talk over the design, they like finalize some things with a drawing, they print it out, they do a couple different sizes. By the time that they are actually like set up, they have the stencil, they're ready to start tattooing you, it's like 3:30. So it's not uncommon for your appointment to not start when your appointment starts. It's just the way it goes. It takes a long time to prepare how to put something on your body permanently. I always thought that it was, kind of rude that tattoo artists would just let me sit in the waiting room while they were, doing whatever in the back. I didn't realize that, like, when it comes to, like, cleaning your station, when it comes to, like, setting everything up, it's not as easy to just size something different on the computer, print it out, and then have it ready. Sometimes you have to hand stencil it. Sometimes the printer's broken. There's a bunch of different factors, and so just because your appointment says X amount of time does not mean that you're going to get started right then. Oh, Jesus. So I hope you found this information helpful. I hope this helps cure any sort of qualms you have about going into a tattoo shop and feeling a little bit strange about the etiquette. Tattoo shops operate by different rules, and those are things that you pick up on after going to them quite a bit. So if this information was helpful to you, tune in for the next video.